Is this thing on? I think it's on. How's it going, guys? Angus here from Makers Muse. Sorry for the complete randomness of a stream, but I've been without internet for the last 4 to 5 days because our NBN went down and we just got it fixed, so I'm like, whatever, let's do a stream. Jake, it's 4 a.m., 3 a.m. where you are. Thank you for joining, but don't wait up. You're not going to be missing out on too much. Bird on the Rock, dude, you're absolutely everywhere. I look on YouTube, I see comments from you. I mean, I think you're just ubiquitous with interesting things on YouTube. It's awesome. Welcome, Futch. Great to have you here, guys. So, as I said, we haven't had internet. I've been uploading the last few videos on the channel using, my phone and 4G, and I completely smashed through all of my month's allowance and then some in terms of getting videos up to you guys, but you just can't stream on 4G really well. So, yeah, I wanted to catch up with you guys, do some Q&A, and I happen to have this in celebration. This is Byron beef jerky, but it is not beef jerky. If you look closely, this is actually Australian-made crocodile jerky. I've been keeping it for a special occasion. It is not cheap, but it is legit actual crocodile jerky. So, I'm going to crack into it, answer some questions for you guys, tell you what I've been up to as well on the channel. There's a lot of stuff behind me. I've been trying to play catch-up since coming back from Bay Area Maker Faire. It's been interesting. It's been a lot of time to catch up. Beef jerky filament. Dude, that would be awesome. I would totally go for beef jerky filament. Hey, Frank, welcome. Bruce is saying biltong. Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's not quite biltong. It's not stiff enough. I think this stuff's quite soft. There you go. So that's your crocodile jerky. So we've been super busy since coming back from Bay Area Maker Faire. I've been catching up on projects. I've got a lot of resin systems that I'm testing because before leaving to America, I didn't want to fire up any resin printers that had resin sitting in there for weeks. So I'm finally getting around to the Form 2. I've got a duplicated D7, and I've also got the Gizmo 3D, and also the Moai SLA, which has some upgrades I'm going to install. Robbie Games, hey, this is my first stream, just woke up, love your videos. Thanks for joining, man, appreciate it. How do you time? Yes, I don't know how I time. Anthony's asking if I've made a drone yet. I haven't made a drone. I've made lots of remote-controlled vehicles. I did have a remote-control aeroplane once. It lasted about 5 minutes before I crashed it into the earth at great speeds. And then it didn't last very long. I'm better at building things that smash into things and don't break, like remote-control robots. Anyway. So let's give this a shot. So, oh, so good. So good. It's like chicken. It's like teriyaki chicken jerky. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, Bruce is saying with the resin, sticky and smelly, absolutely. The resins, they vary in how much they smell, but most of them have a very acrid, pungent smell that you don't really want in a room that you're working in, so I've been putting it off a little bit. Will, that 3D print guy, how bad was the interwebs withdrawal? Man, I was suffering. I just can't work without internet. This is my job, my life. I need internet. Someone was asking how fast is my internet. We are on 100 megabits down and 40 megabits up. Sorry, no, 60 megabits up, I think, but I can get symmetrical if I need. I haven't needed it yet. But they just announced in Wollongong, it's going to be the first town in Australia to get gigabit internet. So that's coming out in a few months, and we should be able to get it. Not that I need it. Bird on a Rock is asking how much is that jerky. That single packet was about $35 Australian. That's why I said it was special. It's not cheap. It's proper jerky. A lot of the stuff in those shops is pressed. It's not actual meat. Well, it is meat, but not the best. It's a composite product. Questions. Why don't you eat chicken? Well, they didn't have chicken jerky. They only had crocodile jerky. Rowan's asking what would be the most crazy 3D print you're wanting to do. That would be the print that just completed on the Raise N2 Plus, which is out of frame. It's behind me on the floor. If you follow me on Twitter, which is at Makers Muse, I've been posting updates of that. It literally just finished before the stream. I'm not going to show you in the stream though, because that's video in itself. But it basically looks like this, except it's a lot bigger. An awful lot bigger. Ant's mate is saying my J-Car wood PLA keeps blocking my nozzle. Why is this? Wood PLA is notorious to block nozzles. If you have a 0.4 nozzle, then that's probably why. You might want to go with a 0.5 or 0.6. And also J-Car PLA with wood is probably not the best brand. You need something that has the very fine fibers. Hey, 3D Maker Noob. Welcome, Joe. Thank you for joining all the way from Malta. I'm just going to pop the chat out, guys. Oh, Joel. What did Joel do? Oh, man. Oh, Joel, have a rad stream, man. Can't stick around. Keep kicking ass. High five. Hashtag high five to my buddy Joel, 3D printing nerd. Everyone send love to Joel. He's an absolute champion. I had so much fun catching up with him and Joe, 3D Maker Noob, and everyone at the Bay Area Maker Fair. It was absolutely intense. Jiro is saying, jerky's always so damn expensive, that's why I make it. Yeah, Lady Muse's dad got a jerky maker for Christmas, and it's awesome, the quality of the stuff that thing makes. It's just like a lamp with an enclosed chamber, and the lamp just slowly cures it. It's good. Yeah, sorry Murphy, 3 a.m, fair enough, go to bed. Nanopus, what do I make of the Duplicator 7? I saw Thomas's stream on it and looked quite intriguing. It is intriguing. I haven't fired it up yet, as I said at the start. I'm still getting them up and running, so I unboxed it the other day and I'm putting it together. It's a small printer. I mean, you're looking at like a 70mm by like 100 or something. I can't remember the exact specs, but it's a very tiny print volume. It's a very small machine, but it is resin, so if you need high detail figurines, which is what I'm planning to test on it, then it's probably going to be a pretty good machine for you. It's not going to be good though if you want anything large, because it's tiny. Shane, you're saying your drive gear shreds your filament. Any ideas? That could be a number of things. It could be the filament is the actual extruder is getting too hot at the top where the filament is and stripping, or it may actually be too cool where the nozzle is, and you might need to increase your temperature. I would try slowing your print speeds down. That's how I usually fine tune what's causing stripping. But yeah, it could be any of a number of things. It could be poor quality filament that's jamming. Hopefully that points you in sort of the right direction. Computer Frenzy, Hangus has put you on Patreon. Oh, thanks, I appreciate it. How's your Troxy X1 going? I haven't fired it up for a while, but it will be featuring in a video soon, because I am doing a series on a cheap makerspace setup, and the Troxy X1 is the printer I'm going with. So the thing about my one is it needs the cooling fan mod. I haven't actually had time to print that, and then it's going to be awesome, basically. I'm not going to do any heated bed mods or anything like that. I think just the cooling fan. And I've lost your comment completely. Oh, there it is. Any chance of a Minifab V1? I think you mean V2 review. There was one on its way. I need to get back in touch with Hobby King, but at this stage I've got so many videos lined up that I don't know if I can actually take it on if they haven't sent it yet. Inventor Jacob Sig is saying what nozzle is best for very fine 3D printing. I would say FDM isn't suitable for fine 3D printing. If you want fine detail, you probably want a resin system. People do use 0.2 nozzles, but yeah, the quality is hit and miss in terms of keeping that nozzle from jamming. Dude, there's so many of you here. This is just a random stream. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. Antamine, what's a good printer under 500 euro that I'd recommend? I've got a whole video on printers that I recommend under 300 bucks US. And go check that out. Any printer in that list is fine. 500 euros is a bit of an awkward amount. They tend to jump up quite a bit past the $300 mark. But yeah, have a look at that and it'll point you in the right direction. I recommend any of those printers from that list, and then you can upgrade accordingly. I have more jerky. That's so good. Futch is asking, how's the Raise 3D printer? The Raise so far has been a really good experience. and a bit of a kind of frustrating experience. The dual nozzles on my machine, I've taken one of the nozzles off because in the first few prints I did, the nozzle was catching and knocking the prints over about 24 hours in, which will be featured in the review. So I've taken the second nozzle off, so it's only one nozzle now, and it's printing great. So I think that's kind of where the direction I'm going to go. I might actually modify it as well before I release my review. But in my opinion, so far, very early days on the Raise N2 Plus, I think it should have a single large nozzle, like a 0.8. Because it's such a large print volume, you're looking at 50-hour prints if you fill the whole volume, if you want to. But the machine's rock solid. So it's a pretty decent machine. Yeah, Maddox has noted the D7 build volume is 70 by 50 by 110. Yeah, so that 70 by 50 is tiny. That's going to really limit your print size. Young is asking, do I make any money doing 3D modeling work? That was my full-time job. I was the in-house modeler and 3D print, what do you call it, production engineer, I suppose, for various companies. And yeah, I did charge quite a lot per hour to do modeling, but I have gotten out of that industry because I found it limiting in terms of my time. I can only spend it on one thing at a time, whereas here I can do a video and I'm talk to 100 of you guys at once, which is awesome. Unlikely creators, welcome. Who is still a mod, fantastic. Oh, thank you, Hobby Aussie. I really appreciate the kind words. I'm glad that the videos help out. Yeah, everyone's just randomly being able to watch this stream. The stream was random. As I said at the start, I haven't had internet for 4 or 5 days, and it's been absolutely torturous. Because I normally stream on the weekend. You know this, guys. Like, I normally have a weekend stream, and I haven't been able to do that for ages. So, oh well. It's why I'm here. I'm trying to catch up. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with where the thing went. The chat's going. Oh, here we go. Ryan Valds is asking, my ABS prints are splitting even at 245 degrees and 80 degrees for the bed. Covered in ABS juice. Made a very cheap enclosure, but it's not fully enclosed. Do I need a better one? The thing about printing with ABS is increasing your nozzle temperature can actually be worse because it's cooling from a higher point, which means it's going to actually shrink more than if you're extruding it like 230 degrees C. So by the sounds of it, your print bed may need to be hotter. 80 might be a bit borderline. You might need higher, but depending on your machine, it may not be able to reach that. And yeah, get a better enclosure because any of that heat escaping will cause higher parts of the print to delaminate. And get a hot air gun and just blast that chamber. Keep it hot, and then you're going to get better luck. But honestly, only print in ABS if you really have to get those qualities because PLA is so much easier to print with. Really is. Yeah, imagination to form saying the chat's going 88 miles per hour. It really is. I can't keep up. Nice to have you here, Bird on the Rock. Have a good sleep. I'll see you around, I'm sure. Soundboard, I'm in Australia. Yes, I am. So I'm based here in Australia, in New South Wales, and that's why I'm streaming at currently 5:30 p.m. our time, which is very late, or very early in the morning for a lot of people in the US. Jeffrey, thank you so much. Yeah, it's nice to meet everyone at the Matter Hackers event. It was really cool to meet so many enthusiasts for 3D printing. That was one of the coolest events I've ever been to, actually. It was really sweet. Dakota is saying, I just bought an ANET A8, and when I try to preheat, the screen shuts off and bugs out. By the sounds of it, your power supply is junk, because if it's bugging out when you preheat, that's a lot of current, and your power supply is probably sagging, the voltage is probably sagging under the load, therefore everything's resetting. So you may need a better power supply, I think. Bit more jerky. I hope you guys don't mind me eating it. This is nice. So good. If you missed it, this is actually crocodile jerky. It's actually quality Australian crocodile beef jerky. Hey, the 3D printer, welcome. Yong, again, going back to the modeling for a job, I wonder if you use Fusion 360 much in practice. I will be honest, when I was working full-time, I used SolidWorks. The company I was working for had a license for SolidWorks Premium. That's what we used. But as an individual now, there's no point or funds to buy SolidWorks. So I use Fusion, which offers very similar functionality, just a different interface. And actually a few things that are better now in terms of mesh editing than SolidWorks offers. I think I saw someone asking if the Tronxy X1 had a heated bed. No, it does not, but you can add one if you wanted to. The boss doesn't believe you can draw and watch at the same time. No, no worries, man. Nice to have you in here. Yum. Jeremy, oh god, you like that. It's really good. Don't knock it till you try it. It's teriyaki. Jet Starzy is saying my printer's playing up. Please, some common things that go wrong, please. I am doing a video on mistakes that newcomers make to 3D printing, but that's probably more in terms of a usability side of things. If your printer's playing up, it might be your nozzle's not close enough to the print bed, so your first layer's not sticking. It might be using the wrong parameters. It might be a wiring issue. It might be many things. And without more detail, I can't really help. But I would recommend jumping onto the Facebook 3D printing group, which is awesome. People can help diagnose problems there. Robbie, would I do a meetup in London? Love to meet you. Dude, I would love to go to London for an event. I haven't been there. A lot of my family's in London, so maybe in the future, you'll be the first to know. Max was saying something interesting. If you made an object in PLA, made a mold of it in plaster, and then poured ABS into the mold, after taking the PLA out, of course. Actually, I'd wonder if the plaster curing would actually start melting the PLA, because plaster gets hot when it cures and hardens, and the PLA softens at like 60, 70 degrees C, maybe. But you're not really going to be able to... You can't really free pour plastics like you can with metals or like concretes, for example. They really need to be under pressure. That's why injection molders have big rams that force them into molds. It could work, but I would probably say it wouldn't. You're probably better off if you were doing something like that to use a two-part resin, like a urethane. You could definitely do that. And you could, instead of using a plaster, you could use a silicone to make the mold off your PLA master. I'm sure there's videos on how to do that on the internet. Yeah, so the chat is major delayed, guys. YouTube is not that great with chat. Twitch is better, but YouTube is really slow. So Theo, I just read your chat then. Milo thought Crocodile Jerky was a nickname for a guest. That would be a good name. No. I just happen to have it here. If I miss your questions, guys, it's just me. There's no Lady Muse, and there's heaps of questions, so I'm sorry if I miss it. Robert's asking if the extruder stepper is too tight to the guide bearing, could that cause the driver to fry? Unlikely. If it's too tight, you're just going to have the stepper lose steps. And yeah, if you increase your current limit to the max, then probably you will fry the driver. But if it's just at a normal, regular current limit, you're just going to lose steps. You're not going to fry anything. So, yeah, you're just going to get it skipping. You'll get the clunking noise. 3D Gusno was saying, what do you think of the 3D print controller future? Duet Wi-Fi, Duet Ethernet looks promising. Yeah, I'm actually keen to try the Duet Wi-Fi myself. Honestly, it's adding a lot of functionality, but FDM really at its core doesn't need it. The machines can't run fast enough to take too much advantage of it. It's more on a usability side of things. So we're going to see better, I guess, better calibration routines, better interfaces, better connectivity, rather than better print quality. That's my thoughts, but I am keen to see what the outcome is. 3D Gustner, how is Lady Muse? She is fantastic. She is currently playing games elsewhere. She's not here. This is it's 5:30. It's technically after work time, although I never really stopped working. So she's elsewhere. So Lady is the brains. Absolutely she is. I'm just the guy that eats the beef jerky or the crocodile jerky. Casually playing games. How long did the book take to write? So for those who don't know, I did just release an ebook a few days ago, which is my 50 3D printing tips and tricks. So the story I told in that video is true. Basically, I started writing it about 2 years ago when I was noting down the things I came across during my workday. I would sit down and just note them down. So, hitting things with a hot air gun, for example, to keep machines going. I had to run machines. I had to keep the prints going in winter when it got cold. So I noted these things down, mostly for myself, for future reference. Then I started thinking, okay, I might make a good ebook, but it really took me ages to do it because the channel takes so much time normally. Finding external time to write things additionally takes forever. So Lady Muse did help a lot with the layout. I did the content, and yeah, I'm really happy to get that out. It took so much effort, I'll be honest. I'm terrible at this sort of thing, so I was actually quite proud to get it out. Evil Waffle Iron is saying, looks like tender jerky. It is very tender. It is very nice. Roamstar is saying you just installed an all-metal hot end, but it keeps clogging. Yeah, all-metal hot ends will definitely jam up on some types of filaments, more so than PTFE. PTFE is slippery, whereas metal can actually have quite high friction when filaments soften. So I noticed on the the tier time machines, like my Cetus, and the up printers like the Up Box and Up Mini, some PLAs would jam and some wouldn't, and it was all down to the particular makeup of that PLA, and some of them would soften and then jam in the tube. So what you would get is when you withdraw, you get the filament with like a melted bit of filament around the outside of it when you pull it out, because it's been trying to force through itself. So yeah, actually all metal hot ends aren't that great unless you really need them for high temperature or abrasive use. I would actually say PTFE is better for most cases if you're just printing lower temperatures. Yum. Jatman, my hair is getting long. I need a haircut so bad. But I haven't had time because I've been teeing up this internet fixing. So tomorrow, this is the last time you're going to see his hair like this. I've got a haircut, I'm going to get a haircut, and it's going to be shorter. I'm so done with having long hair. Oh, Roamstar's doing glow-in-the-dark filament. Yeah, look, glow-in-the-dark filament, depending on the brand, will erode a nozzle, so you make sure you have a hardened nozzle, but the PTFE wouldn't be such a big deal. It's just more the nozzle where it gets concentrated through a small point that'll start to erode. Max Artemis is saying, would I switch to powder layer printing similar to how Shapeways does it if it was cheaper and more commercial? Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen, Formlabs have released their new SLS, which is Selective Laser Sintering Machine, which is the Fuse 1. I did ask them if they want to send some prints to me. Not a machine, obviously, but some prints. And they are going to send me some samples. The biggest problem with powder printing, this is two problems. One is it's really messy, like super messy. And the second is the powders are only reusable so many times. You can't just constantly reuse them. I think the Fuse 1 has like a 2-time use ratio. So the actual powder that you don't sinter into your parts, you can only use it twice before you have to throw it away. So that's a really big gotcha. And power consumption is also pretty massive because it heats the whole thing up quite high. So in terms of a single user, no, you don't really want an SLS. But if you're using it as a bureau, you'd batch parts together, you have very little wastage, they're awesome. So we're going to see a lot of those, I think, in smaller print bureaus. Stormbringer is asking, did I review the CR10 or will I soon? Unfortunately, no, because I think there's enough already out there on the CR10. I can't really add much to it. It looks like a fantastic machine, but I don't have any more room really for a big printer. And like, Dustin Jatman has looked at one. Joel has looked at one. Almost everyone's looked at them actually. So there's plenty of good reviews on the CR10. I can't really add much to it personally. Will, am I getting sued by that guy? No, I'm not. I'm in Australia. I'm a little bit harder to reach. So don't worry about that. Fetch is asking, do I prefer branded or generic PLA? Honestly, in this day and age, you're hard-pressed to find, and I say this a lot, you're hard-pressed to find PLA that just doesn't work. I mean, I'm sure it exists still, but it's very rare that you'll get PLA that just literally doesn't print. Sometimes it's a little bit more stringy or it looks a little bit less quality, but honestly, I use pretty much anything I can get my hands on, and most of the time it just works. So, look, I print eSun, I print Hobby King house brand, I printed no-name spools from China. Almost all of it just works. So yeah, I haven't really had much of an issue. Imagination to Form, take on Grant Imahara. I don't know if he still does robots. I think he's a little bit more busy than he was when he was in BattleBots. There was an Australian robot at BattleBots, which was Death Roll, which I actually drove a few weekends ago at the Vivid Robot competition. We used it as a house robot. But yeah, no, I think Grant's one was a lightweight. He's Death Blow one, little hammer. So that's about 27 kilos. It's about double what most Australians make. We usually make featherweights that are about 13.6. I guess I get to 2 against him. I don't know. I'm pretty sure his robot doesn't exist anymore. Enrique, will I review the Duplicator 7? Yes, I will. Stay tuned for that one. Sorry, when I was itchy, it's been very dusty and cold. Robert, do I still want to know about typos in the 50 tips book? Yes, please send me an email. I will be sending out an updated version in about a month's time. I did try to catch all of them, but obviously I missed a few. Bino Mensch is saying, are there any special tricks to print flex filaments with a Bowden style extruder? If you have a 1.75mm filament Bowden style, I would say pretty much don't bother. It's not going to work very well. If it's a 3 or 2.85mm Bowden, yes, but you have to print super slow. I'm talking like 15mm a second or something. Sure other guys can chime in here, but Bowden with flexibles is like super bad. But talking about flexibles, I just recently printed this, which is the guys that make the Flexion extruder. This is their new filament. Yeah, it's the most flexible filament I've ever seen. It's absolutely ridiculous. You pick up this print and it peels off the print bed. Like, you have to unload each arm. It's stuck down by suction. And you compare it to other flexible prints and then they feel hard and rigid once you play with this one. That's this one, Diabas Engineering, the X60. I don't know if you could ever print this on anything except the Flexion or a fully supported extruder. Definitely not Bowden though. Jatman asking me about the A1 filaments. I need to actually research that more because I haven't had a chance to look into it because no internet. But yes, I will get the scoop. I will get the dirt on their compostable filaments. Just PLA. We'll find out. G Sun Unlimited is asking the pros and cons of deltas. So deltas are fantastic for very tall, fast prints. They're not great for very long, wide prints because their volume is a sort of cylinder with a little cone-ish thing on top. And they're quick, but you generally need to have a Bowden-style extruder because they have a light hot end to keep that speed up, which then introduces its own issues. And they can get something called salmon skin, which is to do with the stepping of the motors. So the print quality can be inferior to a Cartesian sometimes. But it really just comes down to what you're printing. If you want tall, thin column things, like, tall vases, fantastic. If you want engineering parts, probably not the best printer for you. More jerky. Let's have some more jerky. Inventor, am I printing something at the moment? Yes. I'm currently printing in, this is Poly Smooth. So I just unboxed the polisher recently. Will, I just saw you just got yours. I know I've had mine for ages. I'm sorry. So I'm going to test some prints on the polisher to see how that goes. You might be able to see it. It's kind of over there on the thing. There we go. I've lost the chat. Vids and stuff's asking about mods on the Rays. I've literally just started printing on it a few days ago, so no mods yet. I mean, keep in mind, a single print on the Rays can take... The last one I did is 36 hours. So if it doesn't fail, which a lot of them have already, then you got to wait 2 days for a print. So I am basically, as I said a little bit earlier, I'm looking at removing the second extruder and just having a single larger nozzle like a 0.8 and printing some massive stuff on it. Karlek is asking, is it normal to see small black dots inside a red filament when holding it up to a light? That's charred filament. It may be inside your extruder assembly, and if so, you might need to get a replacement, because that's possibly your PTFE tube inside, if you have one, is degrading, or it's just built up burnt crap over time. I mean, these machines, these things are heating up plastic for ages. It does eventually charcoal inside. You might want to replace that part. You can clean it, but they're cheap. I'd just get a new one. Yeah, Jatman laying down the ban hammer on Ashley. Yeah, rub it in. I am rubbing it in, Will. Oh, yeah, Carl, if you're talking about black spots on the spool, that might be something different. So I didn't quite clarify that. Ryan's asking, is there a PLA that can be sanded as nicely in as ABS? Yeah, that's a good question. Now I know why you might be printing ABS. ABS does sand much nicer than PLA. I mean, if you wet sand it, then it's not such a big deal, because you want to keep the heat from the friction down, because it will make the PLA fluffy and gross. But yeah, not really. I mean, what I would do is spray it with a like a car automotive bog and primer, you know, like the spray putty style stuff, and then sand that back with the PLA with the wet and dry. So like dip the sandpaper in water and like keep it wet. And that keeps it cool. That's how I've done PLA finishing before, whereas ABS is a bit more forgiving for the heat. Am I drinking water out of 2 glasses? Yes, this is totally water, and let's go with that. Yep, water that burns. Practical printing, suggestions on resins to try on the Moai. So, I can't remember the exact frequency of the laser system in the Moai, but basically Mark has kept it open. So, when you go and look for different resins, just make sure they react at the frequency that Moai will cure at, and go for it. I'm going to personally try Fun To Do resins, which are in Australia $65 a litre, which is very cheap for a UV resin. So, I'm going to give that a go. And I've got some form resin, so I might give that a crack as well, depending on whether or not Mark gets me the upgrade parts in time. So I left him my motherboard at Bay Area Maker Fair, so it's not operational right now. But yeah, make sure that the frequency is okay. But Fun To Do is the cheapest I've come across, and if that works, then Bob's your uncle. You know, why not use it? Robert's asking, I bought the Aldi printer a month ago and can't get the helpline to answer. Do you have any other phone number? Shoot them an email through the Cocoon Create website. Don't bother with a phone number. I don't know. They're basically a big company that does lots of other products. They're not just a 3D printing company. And then the email will probably be the best way to get to them. Unlikely creators, ban Angus. Well, technically you can drink on YouTube and Twitch, just you can't show yourself getting drunk on Twitch. I don't know about YouTube, but that's not the plan here. Vincent Stuff asking about Mark's new tough resin. Yes, that's probably in the cards as well. I am keen to see any resin that has a bit more strength to it than regular, crappy, brittle UV resin. Nanopus. So Angus, I've noticed in multiple videos you enjoy your beer. Any local recommendations? I assume you're in Australia. If so, then if you're in Sydney, I highly recommend going to the Lord Nelson. It's one of Australia's oldest pubs, and they do their own brewing in-house, and it's absolutely awesome. Otherwise, you can get yourself a Little Creatures Pale Ale. That's also a really nice fruity pale ale. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not in Perth anymore, so I can't really recommend Emu Bitter. That's probably what I used to drink in Perth. Lord Nelson, so 3 Sheets. That's probably a really good Australian local beer. I quite like that one. We do a lot of sort of pale ales quite well. Shane, so you're saying the print slowed down, the print time, and it's printing better. That's good to hear. Hope it keeps going. G Sun Unlimited, what's the most challenging thing I've ever tried to produce using 3D prints? I'm looking to make a record player. That's pretty intense. I haven't done anything that ridiculous. I've done another 3D printer. I've done a progressing cavity pump, which pumped chocolate fondant through a mechanism. That was pretty cool. That was printed, and it produced so much pressure that the chocolate got forced in between the layers of the print. That's probably it. Yeah. Okay, Dustin, I'll catch you later. Yeah, good to see you online too. I'm glad to be back. I can't live without being online. It doesn't feel right. Someone's recommending Young Henry's in Newtown. I forgot about Young Henry's. Highly recommended. They do a good cider as well. Aussie Gamer, what microphone do I have? This is the AKG Perception 120. It's a condenser mic feeding into a Steinberg UR22 external sound card, basically. Digital audio interface. And this needs phantom power to operate, so it's got being fed a voltage about 40 volts or so. So I really like condenser mics. They're really high quality, but you don't need it for YouTube. I just have it because I do music stuff as well. And I'm a bit of an audiophile. Right. Sorry. Enjoying this a little bit too much. Fatch is asking about carbon fiber PLA. Is it really as bad as I heard for your nozzle? Absolutely it is. So it's pretty simple. Imagine the carbon fiber is like sandpaper. It's something that's harder than the material you're scraping it against. So the nozzles themselves are usually brass, which is a cheap, thermally conductive metal, right? But it's a lot softer than the carbon fiber particles, which are really not fibers in filament. They're usually more like a powder. So it's kind of like constantly sanding the inside of your nozzle as these particles get pushed out, because they're condensing. You're looking at this melt path into a small area, and the acceleration increases, the velocity increases. Therefore, the wear is actually quite fast in a small nozzle. So I would recommend getting a cheap stainless steel nozzle if you're just lightly playing around with carbon fiber filaments. You need to print slower because stainless steel has a really bad thermal conductivity compared to brass. And the better ones would be something like the tungsten nozzles, which are good thermal conductivity and very, very hard. So that's what you'd go for if you want something that's hard and long-lasting for carbon fiber filaments. Was 3D Maker Noob. The sugar-free Monster Energy drink, blue graphic on it, tastes exactly like the flower candy I got at BAMF. So that candy was musk sticks. So for those guys who didn't know, I brought some Australian flair to the US, which was in the form of Tim Tams, Chico chocolate gummy babies, and musk sticks. But if that's the case, I would enjoy a sugar-free Monster Energy because I quite like the taste of musk sticks. Jean-Michael is saying, what would you recommend for a beginner who wants to play and experiment with technology as must-have equipment beside the printer itself? That's another great video idea, actually. You need a lot of decent tools to maintain your printer, but if you want to just play around and make cool projects, I'd recommend a good soldering iron for electronics, so that sort of thing, and a good set of, as I said, good set of sort of basic tools like Allen keys and screwdrivers and that sort of thing. what do I have on my bench? I have calipers for measuring things. So that's where you get a digital or like a vernier, so like analog readout in terms of how far away something is, like a distance measurement. I've got scraper blades. I got picks. These are all things that are in my video, in my ebook, by the way. But the picks are good for getting support material out of fine areas, stuff like that. Again, it's a good video idea. I should definitely cover it. What do I have next? I'm having this. And Smate is saying Emu Bitter is the worst beer ever. Shots fired, man. Shots fired. Emu Bitter with Samboy Atomic Tomato Chips. Try that and come back to me telling it's the worst beer ever. That's like a combination made in heaven. Tomato flavored chips and and Emu Bitter. And Rick's saying he loves Vegemite. I didn't bring Vegemite to the guys in the US. I think that's a bit too cliched. I wanted to try something a bit unusual. That's why I went with the musk sticks. ADAHB. That's terrible. That's a great name. Do you still use and recommend the Print Bite Surface? Yes, I do. The Print Bite Surface I use on the Wanhao. It's basically a flat fiberglass-like sheet that's very shiny and glossy, and you heat it up and the prints stick to it really well. It works great. I haven't had any problems with it. My only reservation is I think it's just basically Garolite with an adhesive backing, but it comes ready to go and it looks good and it works well. So yeah, it still works great. It's one of the longest wearing surfaces I've used actually so far. Brandon, have I ever used the site Instructable for reference? Any opinion on the platform? I do occasionally use Instructables when I'm researching things. Google will send me there. I've never actually uploaded there. They did contact me a few times to post tutorials there, but I'm like, YouTube's my platform, so I haven't really looked into it too much. I'm not sure how their monetization works, to be honest. Like, you can pay for certain extra features, but I don't know. It's not bad. I mean, they got competitions all the time. I just don't really use it personally unless I get sent there by Google. Jeremy's saying 4X beer is the worst, and you live close to the brewery, so you know about it. So you know of what you speak. I think 4X is bad because didn't it get flooded during the Brisbane floods? Like, I'm pretty sure it's just flood water in a can now. I'm going to get flamed for that. But I'm pretty sure it got flooded during the Brisbane floods a few years ago. So Hugh Mantelope is saying, along the lines of carbon fiber, what's up with clear PLA filaments? I've had not any luck getting a single print to work, ending up with a clog. That's unusual. Clear PLA should be like virgin PLA. It should be no additives. It should just be pure. And I've never had an issue with clear PLA, apart from it being brittle. Left over time, it tends to become brittle. I've never really had an issue with it clogging, though. It may, again, come down to your machine having an all-metal hot end or something along those lines. It might be the brand, but yeah, that's unusual to me. Clear PLA is usually like it might string a bit, but I've never had a big issue with it. WTF Maca, build tack versus PEI. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. The PEI on the Prusa Mark II works well, but it's a bit hard to pull parts off. But on the other hand, it's a lot more durable than build tack in terms of it's more forgiving. If you rip parts off, build tack tends to leave bubbles, whereas the PEI on the Prusa is a little bit more durable in my experience so far. Yuval, I'm going to build my 3D printer. Is it hard? What should I do before? Yes. I'm not going to lie to you, you're in for a very long experience. You'll learn a lot of things, but you will probably end up spending as much as if you actually just bought a printer kit or a ready-to-run printer. Just giving you a heads up, because the printer kits are so cheap now, and ready-to-run printers as well. They've got the value of, volume pricing, and you're going to need someone to help you print parts, or you have to machine parts. Yeah. It's a good experience, but if you want a printer now, I'd just buy one, because you're going to be waiting a while for that. Frederick is asking, what's the smallest nozzle size I've printed with successfully? I've only ever gone down to 0.3, I'll be honest. I haven't gone down finer than that. And 0.3 was good, but I didn't see a quality increase to justify the extra print time it took. That was a long time ago. I just printed 0.4 or even 0.5, to be honest. For a lot of things I print are like this. You know, they're large shapes that the nozzle size being finer wouldn't really improve the print quality very much. Kalini is asking about the Kaleido printer cartridges. I've never tried them, honestly, but I've heard they're fine. I just don't know why they'd bother with the cartridges. They're cheap, though. Yeah. And the Tronxy X1 is a good kit. Yeah, it's a cheap kit. Check my review out on it if you're interested. It's a good, lower cost kit that does what it says on the box. It prints PLA. And can be improved. Team Tanto. Is that the real Team Tanto? Dude, I love your robots so much. I've been such a fan of Tanto. Awesome. Yes, no, look, I would love to do more combat robots on the channel, and I'm definitely working up towards it. It's just about finding the time to do the proper design, because as you would know, proper CAD design of robots takes a lot of time. And I would love to get into it. There's a big national competition happening in Brisbane in August, and that's going to be open class feathers and sportsman class. So yeah, I will be building something for that, absolutely, and I will feature on the channel as a walkthrough and kind of document my experiences, because I'll be trying to use some experimental filaments like nylons, polycarbonates, and maybe acetal as well, depending. But yeah, I definitely want to do more of it. I just need to clone myself and have more Anguses doing things on Makers Muse. Yeah, didn't Tanto have like dual E-Techs for the drive motors? Something like that? Pharaoh is asking, can you print flexible filaments with a micro-Swiss or metal hot end? Yeah, absolutely you can. It's not so much the hot end that you need to worry about, it's your extruder. You need a fully supported extruder. So you need to make sure there's no gap between the feeder gear and the hot end. You need to have like a PTFE or guide that stops the ability of the filament to kink. Because if it kinks, it stops extruding. So that's the one thing you need to watch out for. What else? Victor's asking what are my thoughts on mixing extruders. I'll be honest, the only mixing extruder I've actually had practical experience with was the one on the Z-Morph or Z-Morph 3D printer. That's a 2-into-1 dual extruder mixing. And there's the whole toothpaste effect. So what I mean by that is, imagine you have a white and a black. What happens is, because of the flow of the plastic, let's say you're printing in white, it tends to drag in black as well, even though you're not extruding it. So you tend to get a line of black along the white. That's the problem with mixing extruders. So unless you're printing both sort of at once to get interesting mixes, then they're a bit of a waste of time. Don't use them to do discrete colors. Use them to do interesting blends, I would say. That's really my experience. I haven't used an all-metal... I haven't used a diamond hot end yet myself, which is 3-into-1. But from what I've heard, that's how you can use it, just mixing colors at once, not so much one at a time. And yes, Will, that 3D print guide is a proper whiskey glass, but it's not whiskey. So I have failed. YouTube and silicon sock, how effective is it? Silicon socks on extruders are wildly effective. I've actually been really surprised by how effective they are in terms of insulating the heat into the heater block. They work really, really well. That's something that a lot of machines have sort of stopped doing. They've stopped shipping machines with the like protective insulating it's like glass fiber tape and Kapton. They've stopped doing that for a while. So, like, when you're cooling your part off, you don't want to cool your heater block as well. You're wasting energy. So the silicon sock stops that happening. I definitely recommend them for your machine. They make a very big difference. I get about 10 degrees extra temperature stability when I use them. G-Sun asking about auto bed leveling sensors. I haven't used anything custom as yet. I do have a BL Touch that I'm planning to fit to something. Might be the Raise printer, because the Raise doesn't have auto leveling. But I mean, I've used various systems like the tactile switch style one on the Robox that worked fine. I haven't come across any that just don't work. The one on the Prusa i3 Mark II, the inductive one, tends to be very temperature sensitive. I tend to often have to dial it up or down using the Z slight offset as it's printing. After time, it does seem to drift, but the tactile ones seem to work fine. And yeah, I'm keen to try the BL Touch. Yeah, I haven't seen any strain sensor ones. That's new to me. Spanner hands, work started and Angus is on the YouTube. Yep, welcome to work. I'm here to distract you, man. That's what I'm here for. Is this going to end soon? I'm probably going to stop in about 15 minutes or so, guys. Time to have some dinner soon. So if you missed it, basically we're back in full force. The internet is back, and there's tons of reviews coming out. We've got the printer there. That's the Micro Delta rework from Emotion Tech. It's a Française printer. It's from France, and that was a kit, and it went together really nicely, actually. We've got heaps of resin systems, the Form 2, the Duplicator 7, the Gizmo 3D, and the Moai. All of them need printing. And of course we've got the massive Raise N2 Plus, which I've just finished a print on, which will be in a video very shortly as well. Nanopus just asked, well, I just encountered an issue just now. I rigged 2 fans onto one. My fans worked for a bit, but suddenly stopped working on Simplify 3D. Right. Well, through standard debugging, figure out what changed. Did Simplify 3D change, or did the fans die? Plug them into another power source, see if they spin, see if there's a wire fatigue issue with a multimeter. Go through the troubleshooting list. Things just don't stop. There's always a reason. The electronics, as I used to learn when I studied electronics, the electronics gods don't hate you when things go wrong. It's because something's happened. It's one of those hard facts. There's no, like, electronics kind of working. It's something has to have happened. Like I found with the, what was it, the Raise Cube printer. The fans just sucked. They were just very low power. I just had to replace them. 3 a.m. in Chicago. Oh, I do appreciate the endurance, Rome Star. And 2 a.m. in San Fran. Oh man, I miss San Francisco. That was quite nice. Oh, 1 a.m. That's not too bad then. Oh, Mark, welcome. I am very keen to see your new parts. I am very keen to get it back up and running. I like my Moai. Zhang is asking, is there a proper way to dispose of PLA plastics? Look, in Australia, where I am, no. The recycling network is terrible here. We can't even recycle polystyrene. It goes into the trash. So, depending on your country, you might not be able to recycle it, but I know some countries have actual ability to identify different types of plastics at the waste disposal factories, and then those countries you probably can. But for me, I can't. The thing about PLAs, it can be broken down using a combination of water, oxygen, heat, and microbes. Certain types of microbial organisms can break it down, but you need like a reactor for that, and I don't know anyone who does that on a commercial level. Could be an interesting video. Again, things that I need to add to my huge backlist of videos. Breaking down PLA, but as far as I see it, not really. Plus, people add things as additives to PLA to make it stronger, give it color, give it different properties, higher melting temperatures, and all of these things aren't really going to be exactly biodegradable like the original PLA was. Nanotube, I saw they've got a piano. Can I play a little? I think I played in one of my earlier vlog videos. I'm not sure which one it is, but I'm not going to play now. But yes, I can play in future if people really want. M Lovers Codigos. I'm so bad at these names. What do I think of the Obsidian Kadama? I have one that's literally just shipped, so it's going to get here in a few days, and then you'll see it probably in a live stream and see how it goes. Futch is asking about Magigoo and would I recommend it. So I've been in very close contact with the Magigoo guys, and I will be doing a video on it very shortly. They've gone through a lot of iterations. The first version worked, but it would glue, like the glue would jam up the applicator. So they've got a new version now that looks a lot more promising, and yeah, it works great. It's like glue sticks on steroids, basically. It's designed specifically for 3D printers. Alright, Pharaoh, good to see you. Have a good night. Aussie Gamer, what am I having for dinner? I am having beef stroganoff because it's absolutely freezing and I want a beef stroganoff. That's the one. I'll take this this glass practical printing. Jeremy, do I have a good link for the RoboWars comp? Yes, I think there's a Facebook page. Just go to RoboWars Australia on Facebook. I think that's probably the best way to get to it. Yeah, dude, compete. I'd absolutely love you to come along. It'd be awesome. Anyone's welcome. I'm happy to help you build something. What else? Andreas is saying if you care about disposal, get green tech filament. It's compostable. Is that the one on Kickstarter? I will have to research that because a compostable filament could be cool if it's actually true. Imagination of the Form saying Devon broke the one Joel got. In terms of the printer, the Obsidian. I did see Joel had an issue with the extruder. I know they did work before they got sent, so it must have been in shipping. Jeffrey, what is freezing? In Australia, anything under like 15 degrees Celsius is freezing for us. We're used to 40 degrees Celsius days. We can't handle anything under 15. Oh, like unlikely. Good to see you, dude. Have a good night. Oh, I'm getting so many questions about CR10. Alright, guys. If I put a poll up on Twitter and it gets enough hits, I will get a CR10. But I don't really think I can add much to it in terms of what everyone else has covered on YouTube. If you search CR10 review, there's like 20 reviews. I think that's a pretty good way to make a judgment on a machine, in my opinion. But if I will ask, because people keep asking, if you want to see a CR10 review, fine. But we'll get to it. Joel, AFL, yes or no? I assume you're asking about the sport. I don't sport very well. I'm very un-Australian like that. Yeah. So no, it's a no. Unfortunately, I'm a nerd. I print things. I don't know how to sport. I do like watching soccer though. Actually, soccer and hockey. I'll watch those. People want my opinion. Okay, look. Follow me on Twitter at Makers Muse. Watch out for the poll. I'll put it up, and if there's an overwhelming majority, I will do a CR10. How's that? But I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna it'll be different. It's not gonna be like everyone else's reviews. Yeah, they've offered me a CR10, guys. I've been saying no because there's too many reviews. Tony Miles has ordered a Monoprice Mini. I'm a complete newbie. Any tips for doing your first print? So with your Monoprice Mini, good choice. Hit up the 3D printing Monoprice Mini Facebook group, which is also known as the M200, the Malian M200. There's a really good Facebook group that will help you through any issues. And first print, I would just do something basic, like a cube. Like just get your knowledge down on the bed leveling and bed height first, and then move forwards to more complicated projects. I already followed you on Twitter. Okay, we'll look out for the poll. Yeah. There's a lot of talk about the GearBest affiliate stuff. I'm a little bit tentative for that because, just to go into a different tangent, guys, like reviews, especially ones that have affiliate links, it can be taken to be biased, and that's not always the case. I mean, I would hope that you trust me to give you unbiased feedback. I mean, I've ripped apart machines before, I've praised machines before. I always want to give you the full feedback, but I would be worried doing an affiliate link that it could be taken as biased. Because it's an opinion, and look, I do this as a full-time job, and yeah, an affiliate link would help me if I said this machine's fantastic, give me money by using the affiliate link, but I would be tentative to do that because I don't want to paint a picture of me being biased. So yeah, I tend not to have affiliate links in my videos for that reason, even if they do now offer it on GearBest. I don't know. I might be over-analyzing the situation here. Bellstone's asking, how do I remove lines from your models? Sanding, acetone, other. Acetone only works with ABS plastic. It doesn't work with anything else. So if you're printing in PLA, then yeah, sanding is your best bet. Build up into the lines with a spray car, like bog or spray putty, whatever that you want to call it, and primer, and sand that back, and you'll fill up the lines a lot quicker than just sanding straight onto the plastic. Vids and stuff, go ahead and be biased, just get us a good discount. That's genius. I should just do like a super obviously like fake review. Be like, this is good printer, it's fantastic, and just have like photoshopped prints. I've seen that way too often, guys. I'm not going to do that. 3D Gusner, do I have any idea how multicolor purges can be improved? I'd like to see something like a purge print option, something like 3D Make Noob said, Legos. Really, purging is only improved if you have multiple nozzles, multiple extruders, because the melt path is about that deep. You need to purge all that plastic before you can get to the next color. And purging from black to white takes a very long time, because it doesn't just force it out like a syringe. There's like plastic on the walls that forces down inside it, and there's like mini eddy currents in the nozzles that need to be clear. That's why printing black to white is such a pain, because you can get bits of black in your white print 5 minutes later into the print. So I would say you really want a dual extruder system like the Ultimaker 3 has to do proper dual color. Yeah. Maker Faire, start a tip jar to get Lady Muse to Maker Faire. Look, for the Maker Faire thing, keep your eyes on it, but we're thinking of doing a crowdfunding campaign, not a sponsorship-driven trip, because that way, again, we can be super, super unbiased and not tied down to manufacturers in any way, shape, or form for New York, because that way we could do anything we want, really, and we can answer your burning questions for suppliers without any sort of backlash. But yeah, that's something we're thinking of, and keep an eye out for it in the channel and make sure that we do it properly. Aussie Gamer, how would you get 3D prints to stick? I do have a whole video on that, which is your first layer in my 3D Printing 101 playlist. But yeah, if your first print is a good layer height and it's not too far away and not too close and it's still not sticking, depending on your print surface, a little bit of glue stick or Magigoo or some other bed adhesion solution will definitely make it stick, but then you might not ever get it off afterwards. Yeah, Randall's saying spot putty. It's a thickened primer. Yeah, we call it spray putty in Australia. But basically, it's a builder. It builds up onto the surface, and then you sand it back. I used to use it all the time for my industrial design models. Will I do a 150k giveaway? Possibly. Yes, maybe. I haven't done a 100k giveaway because I did like a 65,000 subscriber one. But yeah, we might do a giveaway at some point. I just haven't had time to plan it, really. Cool. How to get my barbecue crocodile nice and flaky? Well, I paid a lot of money for it. So this beef jerky was not cheap. I don't know. They haven't sponsored this at all, by the way. But we saw them at the markets, and the fact they had crocodile jerky was just awesome. And it's so good. It's only one strip, though. It's like... How much is it? Like 80 grams for $35. You know, it's more than buying alcohol, but it's nice. Aussie Gamer is saying, would I prefer hairspray? I'll be honest, guys, I don't use hairspray on any of my printers because I'm worried about the overspray damaging the motion components. Because the last thing what I want to do is put glue onto the moving parts. And you can't stop it, really. By spraying down, it's going to go up and touch it. And hairspray really is just PVA in a can, really, with alcohol. So you may as well just use a PVA glue stick, in my opinion. G-Sun Unlimited, do we pay as much for color fab here as in the Netherlands? Dude, we pay a fortune for color fab here. It's like $80 a roll. It's absolutely nuts. But it is good quality. Alright, I'm going to have to finish up very shortly, guys. I am getting very peckish and I can't eat all of this here. Jay Shea scores next on Makers Muse. Biased Crocodile Jerky reviews. I should send them a tweet being like, hey guys, send me more Crocodile Jerky for my streams. Yeah, Gear Best Crocodile. I would not trust Gear Best Crocodile Jerky. Oh my god, no way. That would never happen. Right. Few more. Where's another good question? Got time for one more question, guys. Sean is saying, I got the Flexion HT version, and do I need a thermocouple or thermistor? It depends on your printer. You should just use whatever your printer came with. If you're doing the upgrade, just swap the block out, take the thermistor, loosen it, and then put it into the Flexion. Most machines have a thermistor, but it depends on your printer. Cool. Alright guys, I'm going to call it there. Thank you so much for joining. This is an absolute blast. I'm so good. It feels so good to be back streaming and being online. Having 4 or 5 days of no internet is actually kind of horrible when your entire business is on the internet. I never really knew this feeling till now. But yeah, look forward to heaps of new videos coming soon. The next one will be out probably tomorrow, which is 5 3D printing mistakes that you will make in your 3D printing escapades. That's probably not that's the working title. But that's coming out tomorrow. Should help you out in your 3D printing. And then there's probably a few reviews coming as well. So thanks for joining, guys. Really appreciate it. And look forward to seeing you again very shortly here on Makers Muse. Have a good night or good morning wherever you are. I'll see you later. Happy printing, guys. Bye. And we're going to stop the button there.